If you follow along with my node tutorial, you maybe remember that I told you about that we have three types of module: the core module, local module, and third-party module. We understand something about the core module. Now it's time to understand something about the local module. If I make it easier, what's a local module? A local module is a module that you created by yourself, and you're going to use it locally in your computer. So to use a local module, we're going to create a separate file. We usually pass the modules in a separate file. So I'm going to call that as my first module. Okay, and now we have to save it with the extension of .js. I save it, and here we're going to write our modules. So for example, here I'm going to declare a variable, call it get name. And in this get name, we're going to assign a function. So I'm going to say function, and in this function, we just going to return a name. So I'm going to say Keen, for example. Now to use this function in a separate file or in another file, we have to export it. So how can we export that? Here I'm going to come and say exports. Remember that this is exports, not the export. So after that, put a name to it. So for example, get name. This is just a name, not the module name that you wanted to export. So we're going to pass it to the get name module, and this is the module name. Let me pass this to the name, actually, to understand that this is not that one. So now that we exported, we have to import it in our index.js or any other files that you wanted to use. To use it, I'm going to declare a variable, call it user, and I told you about that if you wanted to access a module, we're going to use the require method. After that, put the name of the module, the path of the module that you want to access. So our module in this case is in a root folder. Root folder means where the index file is, the node, my first module or the module that we wanted to use is in this root folder. So to point out to the root, we're going to pass the dot, and after that refer to that a file name using the // and whenever you pass the // Visual Studio automatically purpose you the modules or the files that are accessible. So in this case, our file name is for my first module. So now here that we imported, now we have to use it. So I'm going to come here and say console.log, and this user is now is like an object here. So here we can use the object of the user to point out to the module that you wanted to access. So we wanted to point out to the name function, or here in this case is called module that we exported from here. Because this name is a function, we have to pass its parentheses to. So now if I save it and go run this node application, so I'm going to come here and say node index.js, and after that here in the console we get key, which return using this function that we exported from this file and imported in this file, and use it using the object of that file, and refer to one of the property or the method or classes or variables that we exported using this file. We also can have multiple module in a one file. So here I'm going to come and declare another variable. Sorry for that. Here I'm going to come and declare another variable, call it set name, and in this set name we also got again assigned to a function, and in this function we have a parameter of the name, and here we're only going to return the name. To whatever we pass in this function, this is going to be returned again. So here we have to export it, so I'm going to say export dot and refer to the set name property and pass it to the set name. Sorry that I said refer, this is just like a variable name, this is a property. So now save it and go here. If you wanted to use that, here just copy that and pass it down here and say set name, and we have to pass its argument. So I'm gonna say a name like Alex, or yeah, a name like Alex. So we have to write this node application again. So if I press enter, here we get the key and the Alex that we pass here, and this going to be passed to here, and we return it using this function, and we exported this function using the export.set. So we also can export a variable. So how can we do that? Here I'm going to come and declare a variable, call it like first name, and assign it to rain. So now to export this variable here, we're going to do the same. Exports, put a name to it, for example, first name again, and assign it to the first name. So now if we wanted to use this, here you came and copy that and refer to the first name. Remember, because this is a property, you don't have to use parentheses. You don't have to pass its parentheses. Now, if I run this application, here we get Kim, Alex, and the rain. So there is a shorter way also to export a module. So what is that? How can we export it in a shorter way? So to export that, we're gonna get over of this variable here. So replace of that, we want to pass the exports, and after that, this is going to export this. And we also have to get over of these, because if you pass these here, it's going to give you an error. So I clear these and we export that. Now we're gonna go here and use the get method name. So I'm gonna say console .log and pass the user and refer to the get name method. So now if I save it and run this node application, here we get the key. Okay, so here we have, as you see, two modules. Let me export this too. So I'm going to come here and say export dot, and this is going to export this function too. And for example, we only wanted to access a specific module. To do that, here is a technique that you can use, which is distracting assignment. If you didn't know about the distracting assignment, I have already created a tutorial about in my ES6 tutorial. Go ahead and watch it. So here I'm going to come and declare a variable and open up a brackets, and inside this we wanted to refer or point out to the specific property that you want to access. So for example, wanted to point out to the get name property and assign it to the require, and here from this require we're gonna pass dot and slash and refer to this file name, and after that even you don't have to point out to that object. So here I'm gonna come and say console.log, and in this we're gonna pass the get name, because this is a function. We have to pass its parentheses, save it, and also save this file and go to the node and run this application. Here I'm gonna pass this, and here we get the key, because we only access this, and here we don't have to refer to the object of that. And as you see, we have directly access it using the distracting assignment technology here. So, and there is another way that also we can export a module. So what's that other way? So here, if I came and say module dot export, here we have another method, and in this we're gonna pass a name to it, that we can pass this name as the name and assign it to simply a variable. For example, rain, I only know these names, and after that that we pass it here, we can use this module too. So we're gonna get over of this and pass a name to it, for example user, and using this we're gonna go access the name here. So I'm gonna say console.log and user.name. We access the user and get the name variable from here. Save it, run this node application, and the console we get rain. But what is the difference between the module.export and the export itself? Now if I make it easier and came here and say console.log and pass the object itself here. So we're gonna say module, and after that we pass this, we're gonna go and run this node application. Here we get something, and if I open up this and see everything here, we see that the export is a part of this module, and this module name is export. So it didn't really matter if you are going to use the export module or the module itself. So both are the same and you can use whatever you want. So this was from this tutorial, from exporting and importing modules, and I see you in the next tutorial. Bye.